I pray that each of you are blessed today, and I am so excited to be here with you all to share in this moment as we are continuing to build um, leaders, those who are entrepreneurs, those who are visionaries, and those who just love life. Sometimes we get deep and we don't just appreciate and value life. And so we're grateful to the Lord. I want you to help me to celebrate my brother. Amen. Come on, help me celebrate Apostle Travis. We thank God for him, the visionary. Hallelujah. And all those that are joined with him on tonight. I want you to do me a favor. Um, those of you that have, I see many of you have devices. If you would grab your device and just open up your Facebook. Just open up your Facebook. All right. When you open up your Facebook, don't log on, don't hit live, don't record. I just need you to open it up for a second. The moment you open up your phone, there's a question. Yeah. It simply asks what's on your mind. When you and I, on a day-to-day basis, many, whether you're here and people that you know, when they open up Facebook and what's on their mind, I've learned that whatever's on your mind, one comes out of your mouth, or it is reflective in your life. Because my mind, the cognitive thoughts that God has given us through what I like to call the kingdom of the imagination. Our minds are so unique, and we can go from, as if it was a sports car, 0-60 real quick. You can have a thought and be writing. I remember years ago, I was getting ready to open up Facebook, and it says, "What's on my mind?" Asked me, "What's on your mind?" And I had to process what was really on my mind. What was I really getting ready to write? What was I really experiencing? What was I thinking? Our thoughts can create images based upon experiences. Okay? Growing up as a child and in mental health as well as social work, I've done social work as well as mental health. There is something known as adverse childhood experiences, ACEs. The word ACEs. All of us have experienced some things, and whether we have experienced some positive things or some negative things, they are experiences. They impact our life. Have a child who's gone through seeing their mother and father divorced at an early age affects their life. Child who has experienced molestation, rape, or some sexual experience affects their life. Not just as a child, but it continues through their life. Many times, the things and the way we behave, please get this, people behave based upon what they believe. Whatever I believe, that's how I behave. If I believe that I'm sick, I behave that way. If I believe that something, if if I'm a little off, I act that way. Because that's what I believe. But my belief does not necessarily have to always be negative. Okay? I want you to get this. David Karichiri said, the mind is a powerful force. It can enslave us or empower us. It can plunge us into the depths of misery or take us to the heights of ecstasy. Learn to use the power wisely. Your mind is so powerful, you can create a thing and cause it to come into fruition. You can see it in your mind's eye, and that which you see in your mind's eye, and you begin to speak it, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak, and you'll now begin to form that image. Okay, let's go back to school for a moment. All right, I'm the teacher. What's your name? I'm sorry. T. Tia. I'm the teacher. I'm doing a roll call. Tia. The moment you say here, present, yes, you have acknowledged not only that you're present, you've acknowledged that you are here. The moment you fail to acknowledge, there is an absence. The moment you fail to acknowledge, there is an absence. Many of us have found ourselves powerful but pitiful. We found ourselves powerful but pitiful. Powerful enough to know that God created us in his image and after his likeness, but pitiful enough that we stay in our experience and don't ever come out. If I had time, the children of Israel comes out of Egypt. And when they come out of Egypt, Egypt never comes out of them. Because my experience now, I tend to, this is the word that we use in mental health, we ruminate. I keep going over and over in this thing. This childhood experiences is still affecting me into adulthood. Now it's not just childhood trauma, it's adulthood trauma. Now I'm not just a wounded child, I'm a wounded adult child. That means if I throw a pity party and a temper tantrum as a child, I still tend to do it as an adult. Write this down. I'm going to release some things that I hope that will help you. I'm getting to mental health, but I just got to lay a foundation. Is that okay? Whatever is in contact with your mind communicates and connects with your life. One more time. Whatever is in contact with your mind communicates and connects with your life. I remember, I was about to call you apostle. Yeah, I'm about to be messy. So, I remember years ago, I had an experience, and I didn't ask for it. Not that I knew I asked for it. Okay. How many of you have ever read, and we're church, how many of you have ever read Philippians 3 and 10? Okay. That I might know him, the power of his resurrection, the fellowship of his suffering, being made conformable, or here's the word, to his image. I didn't realize in 1997, I was asking God, I want to know you, the power of your resurrection, the fellowship of your suffering. He said, boy, you don't even know what you're asking for. I said, yes, I do. I want that power. He said, okay, well, to get the power, you got to go through the experience. We want power, but we don't want experience. God, anoint me. Okay, well, I can't anoint you. You can't go up if I can't take you down first. I said, okay, God, I want the power. Well, in 1997, I had to go through the experience, which for me was a nervous breakdown. Pastoring, but suffering. Pastoring and leading and in business, but didn't realize that the thing that I had asked for opened the door to release for my experience. I said, God, enlarge my territory. He said, I can't enlarge your territory unless I take you through this channel. 1997, 6-inch knife to my life, to take my life from an experience that I didn't even do. But I wanted to know him. Well, somebody asking, since you're asking, you're pulling all into my business. Well, what you went through? It ain't your business. I went through. You ain't tell me all your business. Okay, I went through 6-inch knife. My ex did one thing, and I wasn't aware of it in my house. Wasn't me, somebody else. And y'all, okay, so. But I is a man. I is. I is. And so when I got the experience, the isness of the man, not the preacher. See, we want to deal with the spiritual part, but we don't want to deal with the humanity part. Because you can't be powerful and talking about God, I want to enlarge my business, I want to enlarge my ministry, and you all spiritual, but you too deep to be human. That hurt me. And it hurt me so bad, I forgave, but I did not forget. For months, I suffered. If you see the size I am now, just think about me not eating, not sleeping. I was skinty. I was going through months of dealing with it. Then finally, took the 6-inch knife to take my life. But the spiritual part says, I can't go out let you go out like that. There's more to you than this experience. The experience got me to the place where I am now. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Because the 6-inch knife, spending 3 days under suicide watch in a mental institution, and while under institutional watch for suicide, I'm also working. Go in on Saturday, Sunday morning, they knocking on my door. We heard you a preacher. Well, first of all, who violated the HIPAA law? If I knew what I knew now, I'd be rich. Who violated the HIPAA law and said that there's a pastor in here? They knocking on my door. Sir, can you pray for me? Hell to the no. I am not here to pray for nobody. Okay, I know y'all want this. Okay, I forgot. This is, ooh. I'm not here to pray for nobody. Did you see my bird? No, you ain't saw it. I am not trying to look for it. So we're going through the day. This is the first day. By third day, they offered me a job. Third day, they offered me a job. I was like, nope, don't want to this. This is not my call. This is not my call. This is not what God's sending me into. God says, you said you want to know me in the power of your resurrection, fellowship of your suffering. I'm almost there. Third day, I come out. They offered me a job. I said, nope, don't want it. Ran for my life. Okay. Not knowing, years later, God now sends me back to the very place that I said I wasn't going to go. Your experience is getting you ready for building something. Oh, God. Because I can't be better unless I first became bitter. You can't become better and build without reduction. All of us want increase, but we don't want deduction. We don't want the decrease. In order to build something high, you've got to have something in the ground for it to be able to stand if it's going to take height. So 3 days in under institute watch, they released me under doctor's care and said, you're going to need medicine. Not me. You're going to have to take medicines to balance you. Well, first of all, I was already balanced before I came in here. It was the experience of being connected to the wrong person, oh God, that got me in this place. Okay, I'm way off, right? Whatever is in contact with your mind communicates and connects with your life. So here it is. Go back to school, get my degree. Guess what God sends me? Psychology, mental health. I said, God, you funny? Yeah. He said, no, you slow. He said, I told you this 20 years ago, and you didn't move. So now you're behind time on what I've called you to do, to build. 3 days later, after being released, a pastor, I was going to a revival. This pastor, can I move this to the side? A pastor was at a revival, and he says, man, I need to talk to you. I was like, this dude never saw me. I was in a part of LaGrange, Georgia, West Point, Georgia, sorry. And he came all the way from Augusta. I don't know, because I'm kind of the way he heard me. heard about me, and he was talking to me. He says, man, listen, I'm sick of my wife. Wrong person to talk to. Wrong person to talk to. He said, man, listen, I drove here. This is my last resort. He said, I got a knife in my car, a gun in my car, and some pills. He said, I'm ready to take my life. God, you ain't had to break me to build me for this. Now I'm at the pivotal point where he needs me to be. Ministering to the young fella because we're about building leaders and going to the next letter. Make us better. Okay, God says, he says, I ministered to this young guy afterwards. He says, man, I said, I know what you've been through. I experienced that just recently coming out of it. I said, you're going to be okay. Some funny part, God part, he brought you to me. Can I help you? If you're going to build in mental health, don't be afraid to share your experience. What is mental health? Mental health are health conditions involving significant changes in thinking, emotions, or behavior. Possibly a combination of all. Mental health is associated with distress and or problems functioning in social, in work, or in family activities. One more. Mental health is the key to personal well-being, relationships, and contributing to community or society. If you and I are going to understand what mental health really is, it is who we are. Okay? All right? Let's go back to school one more time. Everybody on the first row, y'all mind working with me for a second? Okay, so I'm going to go this way, and I need y'all to count. Okay, you know how we used to do that in kids? I know you didn't. Okay. That's my brother. Okay, watch it. Okay, all right, ready? Stop. 1 out of 5 have mental health. Oh, y'all just, man, let me just, okay. Ready? Why you got me? 1 out of 5 adults experience mental health each year. 1 in 20 experience serious mental health illnesses each year. 1 in 6 youth ages 6 through 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. 50% of all lifetime mental illnesses begin by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 34. Partnership Development Group. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of. One more time. Mental health is nothing to be ashamed of. It is like heart disease, diabetes, or any other illness. But we are ashamed of a mental health illness. But 1 in 5 got it. Why am I ashamed of my illness? Why am I ashamed of my illness? My illness is a condition based upon either heretics or an experience. Okay, now I know most of us in here, we grown, we adults, and we never experienced nothing. And we the church. And we the church. We testify about the house. We testify about the car, but we won't testify about our mental health illness. The day that I came out of that mental institution, I started testifying about my mental health illness, my suicidal thoughts, my depression, my depression, my depression. It wasn't something that just started from that experience. It was something that was ongoing. I played ball, I played sports. Anytime you're under stress, you have the tendency, if not careful, to go into depression. In the church, on the job, in your home, wherever you are. Anything that can cause stress on your life can push you into a depressed state or cause you to operate with some form of mental health illness. Now, the church won't talk about this, and I thank God that the man of God wanted to include this in this experience. God has instructed me. He says, Jerome, in what you've gone through, I need you to go and tell everybody. And I started telling it. I never forget. I went back to New Orleans. I grew up in New Orleans and went back home, and I set an appointment with my pastor, and I began to share with him what I experienced. He said, Jerome, I didn't know you was going through that. I said, Bishop, because I ain't tell nobody. He said, I could have helped. I said, but you couldn't help. I had to go through this because it's my condition. It's my experience. Because if I'm going to know him and the power of his resurrection and fellowship of his suffering, then I got to go through it. Okay? Let me help y'all. Anybody know West? Kanye? Yee? Well, he got mental health issues. How many? He got 2 poles in his head. He admits he is bipolar. He admits he's bipolar, but he's also wealthy. See, while you laughing at his bipolarism, that man is in business making money, but we laughing at his mental health illness, but he's looking at his bank account. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson battles with depression. All right. Ready? Erica Campbell, Mary, open up about her suicidal thoughts. It must have came from that sister. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, watch this. Okay, let's go. Okay, bless you, Amelia. Bless you, God, man. Okay, watch this. We all know about Moses. Let's go Bible. Moses had 7 different mental health issues. 7! Born a little baby, disconnected from his mother. Anybody who's disconnected from their mother or their father will have some form of mental health illness. We talk about him being called by God. He could not be called unless he had experiences to cause him to become the deliverer. Loses his mother or disconnects from his mother, given away. Sister watches him, comes right back to his mother. What's missing is in the text is that they never say that his mother acknowledged him. If the mother never acknowledges him, now he is adopted. And if he's adopted, thank you, he's dealing with abandonment issues. I don't trust nobody. I see people, but they don't look like me. They don't act like me. Something wrong with that. Now, anybody who's ever experienced a Noah kid or you yourself have experienced abandonment, you've experienced rejection. I have a whole book on the pulpit of rejection. It's so powerful. Listen, it's not about a pulpit. It's about your platforms. All of us operates in some form of rejection. If you're a salesman, you're good at receiving rejection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here it is. Moses now is experiencing, he stutters. Go to the playground and try to play on the playground. Boy, shoot the ball. You go sit down. We don't want to play with you. Does that affect his confidence, his self-esteem? Question comes, I often ask, okay, what is self-esteem? Anybody? How you view yourself? Well, what's the difference between self-esteem and self-confidence? Huh? Okay, what you say?
How you feel about yourself and how you think about yourself achieving things.
Okay, let me give you something to think about. Self-confidence is that I trust me. Self-esteem or self-worth means I don't value me. How many people do not value themselves in the church? We're shouting, but we don't value ourselves. Good God Almighty, I felt something. We don't value ourselves because we're on Facebook doing this. Because I don't because I don't value me. Because if I value me, I ain't got to show all of this. If I got this, I ain't got to show it. I value who I am, and I don't have to put it on public display because I value me. And when I value me, I trust me that I don't have to sell myself cheap. Moses deals with so many different issues. He's not only abandoned, now he has a father who is not his father. But he has anger issues. He's aggressive. He sees something, but he doesn't fully understand what's really going on in his head. He knows he's called to do something, but cannot put it all together because cognitively, all of these things that are going on and these experiences got him seeing things. I'll leave that a minute. He's now functioning because he has an aggressive behavior. The very thing that you don't deal with will deal with you. Moses, I'm going to finish with Moses. Moses, watch this. He kills an Egyptian, turns around, goes home, thinking about what he did. Now, he's a murderer, but God still calls him. He stutters, and God still uses him. He's abandoned, but God still anointed him. God's going to use whatever that issue is that you have. You can't get stuck in what you were because God's getting ready to help you to become. But it is with your experience. Now, watch. Moses come back the next day. He does it again. But this time now, he becomes David Kimball. He's the fugitive. He's running for his life. He's learning something in Pharaoh's system. When he gets to the wilderness, because he's still angry, he don't know how to control his rage. He's still on a killing spree. Because when Jethro's daughters come, he kills all of the guys who are messing with the daughters. When you are a deliverer and you don't really understand who you are in your speech impediment and all of the anger and all of the things that you're dealing with, you're still trying to figure and put things together, but you don't even realize coming out of your Pharaoh is positioning you right at Jethro. Jethro is teaching you now how to not deal with the world system. He's about to help you to build the kingdom. Y'all ain't ready in here. What are you saying, Bishop? Now he has to learn at the feet of Jethro about church. Jethro's a priest. Pharaoh's a king. God's teaching you in your mental health illness what you're about to become and what you're about to build. Okay. One more, Jaden, I'm almost through. He finds himself going back, spend 40 years in Egypt, 40 years in the wilderness. And now he goes back and he has to deal with all that mental health illness because if you're a schizophrenic, you'll see things that you never saw before. You'll hear stuff that you've never heard before. You can't tell me he don't have no mental health illness, because what's natural is his mental health illness. What's spiritual is God's about to build something in his hallucination. Turn aside and see. I need to talk to you. The very place that you ran from is where you're getting ready to go back to. You've been seeing things, you've been hearing things. God, this can't be. God says it is. Your very experience is what God is getting ready to use in your mental health. All right? Food for thought, and I'm almost finished. If ACEs starts at childhood, then who's influencing your crib? If you contaminate the crib, you infect the course, you infect the consciousness, and you infect the conduct of a person. The reason why Moses is acting the way he's acting is because his crib was contaminated. It contaminated his consciousness, it contaminated his course, and it contaminated his conduct. But if you consecrate the crib, you influence the succession, you influence the concession, and you influence the commission of a person. What is the difference between the contaminated crib of Moses and the anointed manger of Christ? One was contaminated and the other one wasn't. You can't contaminate what God has anointed. Okay. Okay. My time is up. Is it? Come on, my time. Okay. Here's several things I need you to write down because we're building. Okay, I got to get you here. So, 1997, 6-inch knife to kill myself, under suicide watch, come out. Offered a job, deny it. Go to school for mental health, get the degrees, come out, get to a job, they fire me. They fire me on the job because I had compassion for the kids and not the system. I had compassion for the kids, but not the system. All y'all want to do is make money off the kids. That had, but you don't care nothing about these kids. You don't care nothing about their family. Just make us money. Do enough just to get the kids out, and we're going to be okay. We stay in business while families suffer. Team that I was on at the job that I was working for, we would work, this is no lie, my wife can tell you, from 8, sometimes 7 in the morning, sometimes 6, to 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And other departments would go home at 4 o'clock. And we out all night. So, because of the person I am, I wrote a letter. We need more money because we work in these extra hours. Well, y'all ain't getting no extra money. This is Chinese pay. Me, with my smart self, that's discriminative to the Chinese people while I'm African American doing all the work. Okay. So we're not giving y'all any money. They shut the whole department down from the letter. In months, fired me. I didn't realize the firing was preparing me for my new position. I served as a therapist at this company here in Jacksonville, certified therapist, licensed therapist, worked for the company about a year, few months, started out part-time, moved on into full-time. Now I'm the director of the companies. I fire people. Y'all just missed a good place to shout. The very place that I got dismissed from was the very thing that God was calling me into, which is mental health and health care. Now let me release this. My time's up? I can't remember what Okay, thank you. I know how to operate in order. All right. So now I travel around the country, setting up businesses, hiring people in mental health, in home care, doctors, lawyers, nurses, psychologists, psychiatrists, has to come to my desk and sit at my feet. Am I praising God? No, it's my experience. Because you don't know what your experience is setting you up for, but you won't tell nobody what you've been through. Okay. Here's the thing that we got to do in my last few minutes. We got to escape these things out of our head. Okay. I'm going to give you several things. Learn to mentally thrust yourself from the past to the present without getting shut down in the former. One more time, Bishop. Learn to mentally thrust yourself from the past to the present without getting shut down in the former. Most of us, we're trying to go forward, but it's hard to go forward when we keep remembering all the things that are behind us. What I've been through, oh, they hurt me. They let me down. They rejected me. They abandoned me. Supposedly, that was a part of the process. Oh, God, let me help you here. What is it? Maybe what you are experiencing is what you asked for. God anoint me. He said, this is how I got to anoint you, and this is the area that I have to anoint you. Now, what I love about God, God doesn't make all of us the same. Mercer's one way, Mercer two another way, Mila another way, Travis is another way, I'm a different way. Now, I wish I can sing like Mercer. Either one of them. I can't. But stop and think about it. What did he have to go through to get what he got? What did Mila have to go through to be where he is? What did Mercer have to go through to be anointed as he is? You have to go through your own experience. You're talking about building something. You can't build something if you don't experience it. Number two, the more you think, here's the problem with the church. We over-process stuff that we've been through. The more you think, the less it penetrates or makes sense. Learn to give yourself an opportunity to get the picture before destroying the perspective. It's on the screen. It's on the screen. Too many of us, we're not getting the picture. We're overthinking too much. Now, this is what I learned. If you've gone through something, the first thing that you want to do, don't sit here and don't cry, is this. I don't want nobody going through what I've been through. And when we do that, we overprotect everybody. I will never allow nobody to go through that. I become overprotective. I overprocess. I'm thinking about this thing too much. Learn to embrace your thoughts, but major in escaping your think tank to have life. Overthinking can negotiate you out of something good and meaningful for your life. Stop being the king and queen of ruin. Some of us sabotage relationships and situations because we're thinking too much. They're going to get me before I get them. Learn to enjoy the moment without murdering the meeting. You done already defeated yourself before you got to the place. You done already said what you can't do and what's not going to happen. I'll never become a millionaire right there because you done already said it. You done murdered the moment and you done murdered the meeting. You don't know who God's getting ready to set you up with. I was in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, sitting at a table with doctors, and I'm at this table, Mila, and didn't even, I knew why I was there, but they never asked me nothing. Well, who are you? I'm just the director of the company. But they ain't talk to me. I just sat there. When we get ready to go, we getting ready to leave, they said, would you pray for us? Oh, now y'all want me. I realized that it wasn't the director part that got me there. It was the anointing that got me there. Now I had to close off everything that was done because I didn't murder the moment. I could have said a whole lot, and I was hearing a whole lot. This is gonna bless you. If you ever get to a table, you got to learn at the table you can't say something. You can't talk at every table. Sometimes you just got to sit there and soak in the information, because the more you talk, you'll murder your moment. And people, listen, I'm trying to tell you, millionaires don't want to hear you talking. Okay, all right. My time is up. Learn to recognize that you cannot escape coming out of what you are unwilling to break away from. Learn to go with the flow and not always with the no. Then finally, learn to pay attention to the outside noise in your head. They got so much going on around us. How do I handle depression? How do I handle anxiety? How do I handle all these thoughts that are running and racing in my mind? If you don't escape it out of your head, it'll continue to mess with your life. I'm going to close with this thought. Years ago, I asked God, after getting through what I went through and got my degrees, I said, God, what is it that you desired me to do? My wife and I was having a conversation, and we said, we're gonna start a business. She named it Henry Psychological Services. I was gung-ho on that. Going through college, going through experience, and then got into school. Some things happened. I was like, oh, I ain't going back to school. I now turned 57 years old. I know I only look like 25. 57 years old, I was like, okay, I'm finished. Then God says, you're not finished, you're just getting started. He said, even if you're building Henry Psychological Service, or if you're building anything else, you can't build it with a raggedy mindset. The place that I am now, I had to go back and fix some stuff. I did. I had to go back and fix some stuff. I had to change my mindset. My experience, because I've been through it, I didn't have to kill everybody because of what I've been through. I don't have to be mean to everybody because I have a sickness. I'm sick. That don't mean I got to make everybody sick of me. It's mine. And then I asked God, take it away. He said, I can't. Because if I take it away, then you have no relativity and no effectiveness to what I called you to do. Mental health is real in the church. Several years ago, we were in service and we were doing some things, and we were trying to figure out why our church couldn't go forward. We couldn't go forward because everybody was still in their crisis. And I'm talking about the whole church. We had to stop trying to preach on what's coming and deal with all the stuff that what was. We had to dig all of that stuff up. It didn't go away because some people like holding on to it, like us. God's trying to get us healed, mind, body, and soul. Your soul is your secret self. If you don't deal with your secret self, it will deal with you. Whether you're in depression, whether we're dealing with anxiety, whether you're in business, whether you're in ministry, you got to build yourself. And sometimes in building yourself means you got to get some help. Please, ma'am, please, sir. I deal with pastors. I deal with bishops. I deal with apostles. I deal with military men. And the most strangest is the pastors and the military men. I'm sorry. Because we're prideful. We don't want to show our vulnerability. But how are you going to get healed if you don't deal with the mental part? And everything dies and shrivels from the mind.